Okay. I think we're looking good. Give me 1 second here while I pull this up on the YouTube. Make sure everything's cool. Alright, guys, it is your boy, your cousin Dustin here. We are going to check out these stocks as we will be doing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the ongoing future. Guys, we are going to be here. We're going to be doing this. It is time. It is 3:44 in the afternoon. Guys, we got Nvidia up 1.46% today. We got, what is this? I believe that's AMD. It's not letting me see. There we go. Oh, that's what's going on. There we go. AMD is at 258, up 1.94%. Microsoft is at $468, up 3.79% today. Looking green. Google down 0.77%. Down 77%. That would be crazy. Google is down 0.77% at $327.98. Walmart evenly trading at 0.04%, up 0.04%. Tesla not moving much, down 0.4%. Amazon up 2% today. It's a mixed bag. It's a real mixed bag out here. So today, guys, we're going to be covering AMD. I've been looking at AMD for a while. And, well, not just a while. I've been watching it since basically when I started messing with stocks. I believe it was like maybe like 2010 or something like that. I believe it was like a $2 stock back then. Pretty crazy stuff. So, over the course of the stream today, the hour or so, we're going to cover a lot of stuff about AMD. Should be a lot of fun. But for now, we're going to check the markets in general, go through, see what's going on. We got the Dow Jones is at 49,100, down 0.57%. The S&P 500 is up 0.03%. Bitcoin is at $89,319, down 0.16%. Bitcoin has been in quite a struggle over the past year. Over the past year, it's down 12.38%. That's Bitcoin. Very interesting. The Qs. The Qs are at 622.78. 622.78. Up 0.32% on the day. Very interesting stuff, guys. A lot of fun stuff going on in the markets right now. Let's check some headlines. Let's check Polymarket. I'm sure they got some fun headlines for us. Let's check Polymarket. I'm sure they've got some fun headlines for us. So we're looking at still the same old stuff. Will the U.S. acquire Greenland in 2026? A 26% chance. That's going to add some volatility to things if that starts to ramp up. But as it is right now, it's looking peaceful. Everybody's kind of chilling on it. Trump said he's not going to do it. We'll see what happens. U.S. strikes Iran by January 26th or January 31st. Wow. Wow. Okay. Ooh, here's a cool one. Will silver hit $150 by the end of January? A 1% chance. Or $120 by the end of January? An 8% chance. And today is the 23rd. Wow. That's a pretty cool bet. Who knows? Guys, remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just your cousin Dustin, talking to myself in my office room, my back room, my side room. But, you know, I love it. It's a lot of fun. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up my live here, guys. And it's not letting me for some reason. Nobody's watching, so I can sit here and mess with this for a minute, huh? Okay. Let's leave it on the queues for a second. Let's figure out why this ain't letting me watch the thing I'm trying to watch. Okay, the stream is live. Let's try this. There it is. Jeez Louise. And we got the black screens. What's going on? Well, we still ain't got no viewers, so we'll sit here and mess with this for a minute and see if we can figure it out. It's like acting like I am. I don't know, it's doing something weird. Why is it doing this? Okay, we're gonna figure this out real quick. What is going on? We're doing it live, guys. Sorry. Is this it? I think it is. Gosh. 30 minutes later. Okay. I think we're back. I think we're good to go. Alright. Here we go. It's 3:54 p.m. Let's get back to it. Like I said, I want to look at AMD today. So here we go. Let's take a look at AMD's charts first and foremost. Okay. Now this is trade view. We got the candlesticks going. Okay. This is live. No, over the past day. It was just up live. It's $2.59 a share right now. The next earnings report's in 11 days. Average volume of 32.85 million. Current volume 43.37 million. Market cap of $421.58 billion. AMD. I would say the second place competitor to NVIDIA when it comes to microchips. They have slightly different business models. but pretty competitive. All right. So over the past 3 months, been a little choppy over the past 3 months. Over the past 6 months, it's gotten as high. Okay, it's at its high right now. That's year to date. All right, let's look at it on Google Finance. So, on the maximum length chart here on Google Finance, it's sitting at $259.21, up $1,680 since its IPO. Pretty nice 1 year. Over the past 5 years, it's been a little choppy, but it's going up. We're moving up. Looking good. Let me grab some water real quick before we keep going. Alright. Like I said, we got AMD. Over the past 5 years, it's up 179%. Over the past 1 year, it's up 110%. So that's kind of interesting. Year to date, it's up 21%. Past 6 months, it's up 63%. Over the past month, it's up 20%. Okay. It's got a 52-week high of $267.08. 52-week low of $76. Earnings per share, $2.02. Beta of 195. The PE ratio is at 127.99. We're going to look at something here in a minute that will make that PE ratio make a little more sense, at least for the short term. Okay, so we got quite a few articles here. Before we get into any articles, let's do this. Let's ask Gemini. What is AMD and what do they do? What is AMD and what do they do? AMD, which stands for Advanced Micro Devices, is a powerful powerhouse in the computing world. Think of them as the primary rival to Intel in the processor market and a major competitor to NVIDIA in the graphics space. They design the brains and eyes of modern computers, though they don't actually manufacture the chips themselves. They are a fabless semiconductor company, meaning they design the hardware and let specialized factories like TSMC handle the heavy lifting of production. Interesting. That's Taiwan Semiconductor. They let them handle the production. Interesting. What AMD actually does. AMD's business is generally split into 4 main buckets. Central Processing Units, CPUs. Under the Ryzen brand, AMD makes CPUs for laptops and desktops. They are currently known for offering high core counts and great power efficiency. In the server world, their EPYC processors power massive data centers for companies like Google and Amazon. 2. Graphics Processing Units, GPUs. Under the Radeon brand, they create graphics cards. These are essential for gamers, video editors, and increasingly AI researchers. While NVIDIA currently leads the high-end market, AMD is often the value king, offering similar performance for a lower price. Anecdotally, the chip in this laptop is an AMD chip. Semi-custom solutions. This is a cool niche. Semi-custom solutions. This is a cool niche. AMD provides the custom hardware that powers almost every modern gaming console. If you own a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series XS, you are using AMD technology. They also power handhelds like the Steam Deck. Adaptive and embedded computing. Through their acquisition of Xilinx, AMD creates specialized chips, FPGAs, used in everything from 5G cell towers and automated safety systems to medical devices and Mars rovers. Wow, look at that. Why do they matter? For a long time, Intel was the undisputed king. AMD's Zen architecture, launched in 2017, completely flipped the script. It forced a massive wave of innovation in the industry, leading to faster computers and lower prices for everyone. Today they are a massive player in the AI race, developing Instinct accelerators to compete with NVIDIA's hardware in training large language models. Would you like me to compare a specific AMD processor to an Intel equivalent for a PC build you're planning? Okay, so this is a little more into like the actual chips and stuff that they do. I'm more concerned about the stock price. Why is AMD's PE ratio so high? I'm looking at the stream here. Maybe in the future I'll just take my little face off of there. That might make it better. Guys, if anybody ever watches this, let me know. I want to improve as quickly as possible here. What can I do? Guys, like and subscribe. Like I say, this is your cousin Dustin. We're just here doing some research, trying to figure some stuff out together. This is never financial advice. But here we go. Why is AMD's PE ratio so high? Now, this is according to Gemini. So, take that with what you, whatever you take it with. If you look at AMD's PE, price to earnings ratio, on a finance site today, you might see a number that looks terrifyingly high, often over 100 for most companies. That would suggest the stock is a massive bubble. Yeah, that's what I thought. When I recently looked at AMD, more recently, I was like, why is that PE ratio so high compared to like NVIDIA or a Meta, who have much higher they have much higher EPS. So you would think that it's a much worse deal. But after looking into it a little bit more, I started to see what was happening. And I'm thinking Gemini should give us the answers here. However, in AMD's case, that number is highly artificial due to specific accounting rules. Here are the three main reasons why the PE ratio is so high. Now, you could take this and say, Well, that's a bunch of nonsense. They need to get their accounting in order so that their stock looks appropriate. I guess you can make that argument. I guess, whatever. Number one reason. The Xilinx effect. Accounting noise. The biggest reason for the inflated PE is AMD's $49 billion acquisition of Xilinx in 2022. The rule: when a company buys another, it must amortize, gradually write off the value of the intangible assets it just bought. The result: every quarter, AMD records a massive expense on its books for this amortization. This is a non-cash expense. No actual money is leaving the building, but it legally lowers their reported GAAP earnings. The math. Since PE is calculated by dividing price by earnings, a lower earnings number makes the PE ratio skyrocket, even though the company's actual cash flow is very healthy. See? Trailing versus forward PE. Most finance apps show the trailing PE, which looks at the last 12 months of performance. Investors, however, are buying AMD for what it will do in the next 12 months. Trailing PE, around 120. Looking in the rearview mirror, including the Xilinx costs. Trailing PE is around 120, looking in the rearview mirror, including the Xilinx costs. Forward PE is around 35 to 40, looking at analyst estimates for 2026 earnings. This number is much lower because analysts expect massive profit growth from AI and data center sales. Very interesting. High growth expectations. The AI premium. Wall Street currently views AMD as the only legitimate challenger to NVIDIA in the AI chip market. Revenue growth. AMD recently projected a 60% growth rate for its data center business and a 35% overall growth rate through 2030. A 60% growth rate for its data center business and a 35% overall growth rate through 2030. The premium. Investors are willing to pay more today for a dollar of AMD's earnings because they believe those earnings will double or triple in the coming years. High PE ratios are standard for companies in hyper-growth phases. Okay, we get that. That's all pretty basic stuff. But it's that acquisition of Xilinx and the amortization that they have to write off that's making their numbers look wacky. So if you think about AMD's actually more of like a 35 to 40, then it's right along with its peers. It's not doing anything crazy. We'll check the chart again one more time and kind of compare it to NVIDIA here in just a second. Yeah. Revenue growth. AMD recently projected a 60% growth rate for its data center business and a 35% overall growth rate through 2030. Okay, we just read that. I'm tripping. Comparison at a glance. The metric. The reported GAAP versus the adjusted non-GAAP. The PE ratio is 1 to 125, looks expensive. 38, pretty normal. Reason, includes the write-offs. Removes fake accounting expenses. That's not fake. It's kind of a weird thing to put there. Gemini. So they purchased Xilinx and it's making their numbers look weird. Okay. Alright. Very cool. So, if you take that into consideration, that 60% growth rate We'll check NVIDIA's growth rate here in a minute, but let's do this. Right now, where's the comparison thing? There it is. NVIDIA. Okay, so we've got AMD in the purple blue here. NVIDIA's in the gold. Okay, look at the charts over the last 5 days. NVIDIA's been trading kind of stale over the last, I don't know, probably like a year, 6 months at least. Look at NVIDIA's still flat over the past 1 month, if not going down slightly. AMD's coming up. Past 6 months, AMD has performed much better. Look at that. Yeah, so in comparison, oops. Let's go year to date. We've got AMD is up 45%. NVIDIA is up 1%. Over the past year, AMD is up 136%. NVIDIA is up 40%. 40% ain't bad, but 136 is a lot better. Now, guys, really, I don't really care that much about which of these chips is better and who's doing what with AI technology and all that. What I really care about is the money, the chart, the stock price. What am I going to do? Am I going to invest in AMD or NVIDIA? Full disclosure, probably both. Probably both. What am I going to do? Probably both. Why have one when you can have both? That's the way I see it. But that's just me, baby. You can do whatever you want. So, you know, pretty interesting. Ain't no way. Look at that. Huh. So over the past 5 years, NVIDIA's up 173%. And AMD is up. No, that's wrong. This is all wrong. I got an even better idea. Do it like this. So it's 417, guys. Mixed bag on the stock market. It is what it is. We know what time it is. Bitcoin is still at 89,000. We'll check on things real quick, then we'll get back to AMD. Gold. Will gold reach 5,000 in the next, I don't know, month or so? Probably so. It's looking like it, huh? Silver's past $100, up to $103. Look at that. My goodness. What a run. What a run. Did Nvidia's stock, when did Nvidia's stock split? I don't know how to spell Nvidia. Did Nvidia, there we go. Nvidia's stock split. Did Nvidia's stock split? Yes, recently completed a massive 10-for-1 split on June 10th, 2024. Okay, that might be why it's looking like that. So that's interesting. So over the past year, AMD has outperformed Nvidia quite substantially. And interesting stuff. Let's read a couple articles. The stocks are all looking pretty, they're kind of coming green here at the end, at the right after market close. We've got S&P 500 up 3%, or 0.03%. Bitcoin just crossing that green line into 0.06% up, $89,513. The Qs are up 0.32%. Okay. So 4 minutes ago, we got this. Why AMD stock is charging higher as Intel's sinks. This is by Brittany Wynn. We could listen to this. That's kind of cool. No, you're going to listen to me read it. So, as Intel stock comes under heavy pressure, shares of rival AMD are only getting hotter. Sorry, guys. I got long hair. My hair's in my nose. Ugh, sorry about that. As Intel stock comes under heavy pressure, shares of rival AMD are only getting hotter. AMD stock up 2.32% certainly hasn't been doing badly lately. It cruised to a ninth consecutive day in the green on Friday, rising more than 27% over that span. Okay, over that was 9 days. But one analyst thinks that AMD is getting even more love as investors get a wake-up call about its competitor whose shares had been doing better in recent weeks. Oh no, it's making me subscribe. No. Dang it. No. Alright. You little sucker. Try to get me. It's because it was only 4 minutes ago. That's why I wanted the latest one. Dang it. Okay. Alright, here we go. Now we're talking. Back to AMD. AMD stock jumps on Ryzen 79850X3D price and release date reveal. AMD stock rallied on Friday after the chipmaker revealed the price and release date for its Ryzen 7 9850X3D CPU. Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, was on the rise Friday after the price of the semiconductor company's newest CPU was revealed. AMD has set the MSRP for its Ryzen 7 9850X3D at $499, which is roughly what consumers and investors expected based on other CPU prices and leaks. Okay. We are not going to keep saying that. AMD's Ryzen 7 9850 is the company's new flagship CPU for gamers, surpassing the performance of the Ryzen 7 9800. The price of the Ryzen 7 9850 reflects this, as it's priced slightly above the other one at $479. Huh, it's still right around the same price. Whatever. Okay. I'll kind of skim down here. It was up on Friday, extending an 18.48% rally year to date. The stock has also increased 106.55% over the past 12 months. AMD stock movement today was strong, and with it came heavy trading. As of this writing, more than 24 million shares have changed hands compared to a 3-month daily average of about 29 million units. Yeah, is AMD a buy, a sell, or a hold? Turning to Wall Street, the analyst consensus rating for AMD is strong buy, based on 24 buy and 8 hold ratings over the past 3 months. With that comes an average AMD stock price target of $284, representing a potential 8.61% upside for the shares. Okay. So, let's ask this. We're asking Gemini a question. Let's ask Gemini. Compare NVIDIA's and AMD's stock growth. Potential. And compare NVIDIA and AMD stock growth potential. I have an analogy that I'm kind of drawing in my head here, and I think it's gonna make sense, but I want to dive into this a little more just to be sure. What I don't want to do is keep reading those dang numbers on them chips. Driving me crazy. Alright. In January 2026, the growth potential for NVIDIA and AMD is driven by two different strategies. NVIDIA is focused on maintaining its massive dominance through record-breaking profits, while AMD is positioned as the high-growth challenger, taking market share. Here's how their growth potential compares for 2026. '26 revenue focus. Blackwell and Rubin GPU platforms for NVIDIA. Estimated revenue growth would be 45% to 60%. Market position, market leader, 80 to 90% of the AI share. Yes, this is the analogy. This is where it comes into play. And I'll explain it here in just a moment. AMD's Instinct MI350 and MI450 series. Estimated revenue growth, 35 to 40% of the AI segment. In its AI segment, specifically. Market position. They're challenging for 8 to 10% of the AI share. Okay? NVIDIA's much more higher profit margin at 53%. AMD is at 10% profit margin. Our forward PE, we compared these a while ago, of NVIDIA is more about 23 to 26%. AMD is more about like 35 to 42%. NVIDIA's more steady market leadership and reliable cash flow. AMD is aggressive growth as an underdog challenger. The case for NVIDIA, the dominant leader. NVIDIA enters 2026 at the height of its power. While its growth is normalizing compared to the triple-digit spikes of 2024, it remains a profit machine. Blackwell success. The RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell and the Enterprise Blackwell GPUs are setting record performance benchmarks, keeping competitors at bay. Bargain valuation. Surprisingly, NVIDIA often trades at a lower forward PE than AMD because its earnings are so high. It is currently viewed as a growth at a reasonable price GARP play. The CUDA moat. Developers remain locked into NVIDIA's software ecosystem, making it difficult for data centers to switch brands without significant effort. That's NVIDIA's dominance over the space. Competitors like, let's say, like Meta, Google, OpenAI, they don't want NVIDIA to have this dominance because it makes it where they can't negotiate prices as easily. So that's something to really keep in mind here, because I know Meta and AMD were working on this rack thing, this rack computer chip setup, like the housing thing. They were like working on that together, trying to develop it. I'm not sure if it came into development yet, but I know I heard about that. So here we go. The case for AMD. Let's keep going. The case for AMD, the high growth challenger. AMD is the only credible alternative for companies like Microsoft and OpenAI who want to break NVIDIA's monopoly. AMD is the only credible alternative for companies like Microsoft and OpenAI who want to break NVIDIA's monopoly. That's like what I was just saying. Accelerating momentum. In 2025, AMD's stock outperformed NVIDIA by nearly double, 80% versus 40%, as investors bet on their Instinct MI350 series. Expansion opportunity. Because AMD's market share in AI accelerators is currently small, around 10%, capturing even a few percentage points of NVIDIA's share leads to massive percentage growth for the stock. Next-gen roadmap. The upcoming Helios MI450 platform, expected late 2026, is being marketed as a potential NVIDIA killer designed to compete directly with NVIDIA's upcoming Rubin architecture. So if you prefer a highly profitable market leader with a wide defensive moat and a surprisingly reasonable valuation relative to its earnings, maybe NVIDIA. If you are looking for a higher volatility and aggressive growth, it is the underdog play that benefits most from the market's desire for a competitive alternative to NVIDIA. That's AMD. So, very cool, very interesting. Let's revisit the charts real quick and then we'll do a little more. So we've got the Dow Jones solidly down at 0.58%, putting it at $49,098.71. S&P 500 up 0.03% to 6,915. Bitcoin is at 89,513, up 0.06% on the day. The Qs, 622.72, up 0.32%. Let's see where the VIX is at. The VIX is at 16, up 2.88%. Very interesting. So the VIX is the fear index in the market. If it starts rising up in this $20 range, better get ready. Something's probably going to happen. There's probably going to be a big buying opportunity coming real soon. Kind of how it works. This goes up, usually the stocks go down. So I skipped the NASDAQ. NASDAQ composite is up 0.28%, sitting at $23,501.24. Okay. Alright. Let's do this. Let's look at Polymarket. How many inches of snow in New York City this weekend? Shoo, buddy. I hope it don't snow where I'm at. It'll mess me up. Supreme Court rules in favor of Trump's tariffs, 32%. Really? That's only a 32% chance, huh? They don't like the tariffs. Somebody doesn't like them. Khamenei out as Supreme Leader of Iran by February 28th. A 22% chance. Will there be another U.S. government shutdown by January 31st? Will Trump acquire Greenland before 2027? The Board of Peace. This is kind of interesting, kind of fun. They're on something else. Which countries will join the Board of Peace by March 31st? Which countries do you think will join the Board of Peace? India, Russia, Ukraine? Very interesting. Very wacky stuff. Will Amazon close the week of January 19th? Below 215 or between 215 and 220? Huh. Who will Trump nominate as Fed chair? Kevin Warsh or Rick Rader or whoever? Will we acquire Greenland? Let's see what else. This doesn't seem very good. Just saw a weird one. Yeah, there we go. Measles cases in the U.S. in 2026 above 500 or above 1,000. 99% chance and 98% chance. Ooh, buddy. That doesn't sound very good. Russia-Ukraine ceasefire by January 31st. Doubtful. What price will Ethereum hit in January? 6,000? Less than 1%. Or above 4,600. You might as well bet that if you're going to bet this. I mean, my gosh. The cryptos have been taking a dump lately. They've been going down. Not good for the crypto boys. Not good for the crypto bros. Well, I like cryptos, they're just fine, but, you know. I don't know. It's one of those things. This is all betting. That's why don't put any money in that you don't need. That's what they say. That's what somebody said. Next country the U.S. will strike. Trying to find my favorite bet to look at. Where's that? There it is. There we go. Will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? Will they confirm it? That seems so silly. There's $1,319,000 659, or 1,319,659 in volume over the past hour. It's just something fun to think about and look at. Will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? Look at that. It's been as high as a 15% chance. We're sitting at a 10% chance right now on Polymarket, guys. Will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Let me know. I gotta know. Alright. So it's 4:44 in the afternoon. Take one more look at the charts. So that's what it's looking like. Dow Jones is going to be down about 0.5% today. S&P is kind of sideways, just up, just a slight at 0.03%. Bitcoin, it trades 24/7. You never know what could happen with Bitcoin. We haven't looked at Ethereum yet today. Let's have a look. Why does it always do that? No. That's not right. Give me 1 second. There it is. Why? I don't know why it always does that. Ethereum always pops up as like something else for a second, and it switches back over after a few seconds. It's kind of weird. That's on Google Finance. It always does that. I think we're still not quite right. There we go. Litecoin down 0.91%. Doge is up 0.04% to 12 cents, 1240, 0.1240 of a cent. So almost 1.2 cents, almost 1.25 a cent. That's so wacky, so silly. Cardano is up 0.11%, making it almost 36 cents on the day. Look at that. Alright, so yeah, here we go. Ethereum, similar to Bitcoin, has been kind of not doing so hot. Year to date, it's down. It's down 0.9%. to 29.40. In the past year, it's down 9.29%. In the past 5 years, it's up 140%, but this is a choppy, volatile chart. Very volatile. Maximum, it's up 105,166.19%. That's pretty interesting. You never know. Get into some weird, wacky little penny coin at, whatever price. Buy 10 of them. You never know what could happen. It's like a lottery ticket. I would never do something like that, guys, but somebody might. I'm not saying you should. Definitely don't, but somebody might, Okay. So, yeah, AMD, kind of interesting stuff, guys. I think AMD... Let's pull back up AMD's chart, because that's what we're doing today. We're looking at AMD. AMD stock price. Okay. Or AMD stock chart. I'll look at something real quick. Okay. Alright, so when it comes to AMD versus, say, NVIDIA, I think that's kind of their story, is that they are... It's kind of like this. It's kind of like two alligators. You got two alligators, okay, in a lake, alright? And you and your buddy are betting on the growth of which alligator is going to grow the fastest, okay? You got one alligator that's like huge, massive, dominates, can kill anything around. And you've got the other alligator that's much smaller, but just big enough for the big alligator. It can't quite catch it and kill it. You got to think about this. The smaller alligator, he's going to be able to eat lots of things. He's going to, he can kill most of the things that the big alligator can kill as well. Similar to AMD. AMD is able to do most of the things. They're able to sell lots of chips. They're able to compete for market share. They're able to work with these companies and try to, give them what they want, basically. I know their CEO, Lisa, I think her name's Lisa Su, if I'm not mistaken. Let's do this. So yeah, anyways, it's like two alligators. You got a big alligator and a little alligator. Which one's going to grow faster? You know what I mean? The big one requires so much more nutrition. So much. The same thing for NVIDIA. It requires more bigger chunks of the pie. And what pie is there to be taken? You know what I mean? It already dominates 90% of the field. We'll read this real quick, and then I think we'll call it. We'll maybe visit the charts one more time, and then we'll call it for the day. So yeah, their CEO, she's a beast. The CEO of AMD is Dr. Lisa Su. She is widely regarded as one of the most successful tech executives of the last decade. Since taking the helm in October 2014, she has led a historic turnaround, taking AMD from the brink of bankruptcy to its current position as a global leader in high performance and adaptive computing. Key facts about Dr. Lisa Su. Background: She is a trained electrical engineer from with a PhD from MIT. Before joining AMD in 2012, she held leadership roles at IBM, Texas Instruments, and Freescale Semiconductor. That was a lot of acronyms and letters. But she's an electrical engineer, so she understands the chips at the basic level. Like, that's why she's able to work with these other companies in the way that, some other CEO may not be able to. The turnaround. When she became CEO, AMD's stock was trading at roughly $3 a share. Today, the company is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, thanks to her decision to focus on the high-end Zen architecture for CPUs, Ryzen and EPYC. Family tie. In a fascinating coincidence of the tech world, she is actually first cousins with Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of NVIDIA. Recent accolades. She was named Time's CEO of the Year in 2024 and is a regular on Forbes and Fortune's list of the most powerful women in business. Her current focus. In 2026, Dr. Su is heavily focused on the Yada scale computing era. She is aggressively positioning AMD to capture a larger slice of the AI market, recently projecting that global compute demand will increase 100% over the next 5 years. Right. So if the global compute demand is going to increase 100x and she's trying to capture this market share, you can only imagine what AMD is going to do in its growth. Would I like to know more about the major acquisitions AMD has made under her leadership, such as Xilinx? No, we already read about Xilinx. That's fine. We've already read about Xilinx. That's enough. That's quite enough. Alright. So, yeah. 1 day chart. 5 day chart. 1 month. Six months, it's up 63%. Year to date, it's up 21%. Over the past year, it's up 111%. Over the past 5 years, it's up 179% with a pretty choppy, volatile chart. It goes up and down quite a bit. It can get pretty low sometimes. Yeah. We're just kind of getting into the bonus stuff here, guys. You know, trying to keep it moving, trying to keep it learning. Okay. The history of AMD is a classic underdog story, a journey of survival near bankruptcy, and a massive technological comeback that eventually reshaped the computing industry. Founded in 1969 by Jerry Sanders and 7 colleagues from Fairchild Semiconductor, AMD began with just $100,000 and a focus on producing high-quality logic chips. Back in 1969. The second source. Era, 1970s to 1980s. In its early years, AMD didn't design many original chips. Instead, they survived by being a second source manufacturer, producing licensed versions of chips designed by others like Intel, to ensure big customers had a steady supply. 1975. AMD reverse engineered the Intel 8080 and began selling its own version. 1982. IBM chose the Intel x86 architecture for its PCs, but required a second supplier for safety. Intel was forced to license its designs to AMD, creating the x86 partnership that still defines the industry today. The rivalry ignites. 1990s to 2000s. The relationship soured when Intel tried to stop licensing its newer designs. AMD responded by developing its own independent architecture. 1991. AMD released the AM386, proving they could innovate beyond just cloning Intel. 1999. The Athlon K7 launched, becoming the first processor to hit the 1.0 GHz milestone. All right. 1999, the Athlon K7 launched, becoming the first processor to hit the 1.0 GHz milestone, beating Intel to the finish line. 2003, AMD launched the Athlon 64, the first 64-bit processor for consumers, which forced Intel to change its entire roadmap. 2003, AMD launched the Athlon 64, the first 64-bit processor for consumers, which forced Intel to change its entire roadmap. 2006, AMD acquired ATI Technologies for $5.4 billion in 2006. This was a massive gamble that gave them the Radeon graphics technology they use today. Wow. The Dark Ages, 2011 to 2016. After their early 2000s success, AMD entered a period of extreme struggle, the Bulldozer flop. In 2011, AMD released the Bulldozer architecture. It was a massive failure, power-hungry and slow compared to Intel's Core series. Financial crisis. AMD's market share plummeted, and the company was reportedly months away from bankruptcy. Their stock price fell to roughly $1.60 in 2015. The Great Resurgence, 2017 to the present. The modern era of AMD is defined by the leadership of Dr. Lisa Su, who became CEO in 2014, and the Zen architecture. 2017, AMD launched Ryzen. It was a total game changer, offering more cores and better efficiency than Intel for a lower price. 2022, AMD completed the $49 billion acquisition of Xilinx, the largest in semiconductor history, allowing them to expand into AI and data centers. 2025 and 2026, AMD has officially surpassed Intel in market value and is now the primary challenger to NVIDIA in the AI chip market with their Instinct accelerators. There's some of the milestones if you want to see that year. Founded in 1969 in Sunnyvale, California. 1982, licensed as a second source for IBM. 2000, becomes the first to reach 1 GHz with the Athlon. 2009, spins off its factories to become a fabless company. 2017, launches Ryzen, starting a massive market recovery. 2024, overtakes Intel in market capitalization. Okay, so what do I think of AMD? I think they're really interesting. I think they've got a lot of room to grow. the capturing of market share thing, the little alligator to big dominant alligator that requires more food to sustain itself. If we're betting on AMD, we're betting on the smaller alligator that can eat the small prey. It can eat the bigger prey as well. It can grow much faster. Can it get to as big of a size? Maybe not, but we're betting on, will it expand itself? That's what we want when it comes to this, when it comes to the stock price. So yeah, guys, it's your cousin Dustin. I will be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you think I won't, guess again, because I will. I will be here, guys. We are going to edit this down, make it into a full, like, AMD video. I'm working on my thumbnails, guys. I'm getting better at the thumbnails. I'm not an expert, guys. But, you know, we're figuring it out. I think I've improved a lot over the last week or so. We've only been doing this like 5 times, so who knows? Who knows what'll happen? I think that's about it for the live stream.